Thank you for visiting my channel, Past, Present, and Future Gnosis. It's your host, Gnosis, and I'm thankful for you all being here today. It really means a lot. You could be anywhere else, but you're watching this video. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that's viewing this video right now. And before I begin, I just posted up one of a good video, Astronomy in the Bible. I think you all will really like that video as it pertains to certain codes and astronomy linked right into the Bible. And I showed you verse by verse that is clearly showing astronomy in the Bible. And that video will actually complement this video, so I would recommend watching that video too. But anywho, let's get straight into this video. So now, with this headline that you're reading right now, I really wanted to make this video. It's time to connect the dots. And for anybody who's been watching my channels for the years now, having my channel for about, I'm going to say 2 years now, 2 years plus, I've been trying to show you all the link with the Greeks in the Old Testament. If you watch one of my older videos, the Septuagint, and how the making of the Septuagint, I showed you that the Greeks had a handle in the Old Testament that we use today without a shadow and a doubt. So what compelled me to write this is that, yes, if the Greeks made or contributed towards the Old Testament, the Septuagint, where did they get their rough drafts from? Now this is a good question, because everybody thinks that this book just came out of nowhere. But no, Greek culture actually, well, I should say Greek mythology and literature outdates the Old Testament and the New Testament. So it won't be weird to think that there were elements of Greek stories tied into the Bible. So that's what this video is all about. Did the historians of the Bible use Greek stories and embed it into their stories? And we're going to really dive deep in this one. And this is going to really open a lot of people's eyes, because after the evidence I'm going to show you, there's going to be no shadow of a doubt that the Greeks had a handle in the Old Testament, and that the creators of the Old Testament used Greek stories. But before we start off there, I want to go way back, and I'm talking about way back, to where we can see where did somewhat of this Greek literature stem from. And there's two people that I have talked about numerous in my videos, but now I'm going to bring them to the forefront. And these two people are, which I will be showing you the book of them, which you really need to pay attention if you want to know Greek mythology. And that is going to be Hesod, which I'm showing here, Works and Days, which is the Theogony, which is pretty much the beginning of the gods, where he explains about this. So this author right here is going to be the foundation of this video too. And of course, we can't forget about Homer, the Iliad, and the Odyssey. Because when you find out that these two authors right here are the foundation when it comes to Greek literature. So I want to start off with this article here stating about these two authors in the Greek literature and its influence. So let's start here at this article at worldhistory.org. Greek literature has influenced not only its Roman neighbors to the west, but also countless generations across the European continent. Greek writers are responsible for the introduction of such genres as poetry, tragedy, comedy, and Western philosophy to the world. These Greek authors were born not only on the soil of their native Greece, but also in Asia Minor, Ionia, the islands of the Aegean, Sicily, and the southern Italy. And I just want to throw this out this article saying that they're responsible for the introduction of these genres. But if you've been watching my videos, I showed you where the Greeks got all this, so we can contest to Herodotus, which I made a video also, why you need to read Herodotus and the connections that the Greeks and the Egyptians had with each other. Because Herodotus contests that the Greeks got all of this, their science, their mythology, and somewhat of their culture to the Egyptians. He contested without a shadow of doubt. So I just wanted to plug this in here because that's going to tie all this up too, because I want to show you where the Greeks got this from too, before the writers of the Bible got it from the Greeks, and where the Greeks got it from the Egyptians. So I just wanted to point that out real quick though. But I want to draw your attention a little bit further down to this article, which I'll be showing you here. I have it highlighted with the timeline to the right. To fully understand and appreciate Greek literature, one must separate it, divide the oral epics from the tragedies and the comedies, as well as the histories from the philosophies. Greek literature can also be divided into distinct periods: the archaic, classical, and Hellenistic. The literature of the archaic area mostly centered on myth, part history, and part folklore. Homer's epic of the Iliad and the Odyssey and Hesiod's Theogony, those two books I just showed you guys, are significant examples of this period. Literally, Greece begins. This is epic now. Listen to this. Literary Greece begins with Homer, since writing had not yet arrived in Greece. Much of what was created in this period was communicated orally, only to be put in written form years later. And in this article, it shows you the timeline also right here, stating, of course, the two poets, authors I just showed you. Homer of Greece, the Iliad Odyssey, 800 to 7 BC. And we have the Greek poet Hesiod writers Theogony and Works and Days, 700 BCE. So, just right there, that article complements what I just said. If you want to understand Greek literature, these are the two earliest authors that you want to pay attention to. And what's interesting about these two stories is that it has to deal with mythology and gods with superpowers. I mean, like, come on, like any other stuff that you could really talk about. I mean, and it's the basis of your culture, the basis of it all is up to gods with superpowers and all these elements. I mean, like, come on, like pretty much bedtime stories if you're telling me. But I digress, because there is something about these stories, that there's a deeper meaning to these stories, that not a lot of people are really connecting the dots. And again, when it comes to the Old and New Testament, which I've plainly stated again, another connection with the Greeks, it's written in Koine Greek. I mean, plain and simple. Plain as day. If you look up online, take the second, you see this headline. All of it was written in Koine Greek. Again, justifying how the Greeks were embedded into not only the New Testament, but the Old Testament also. So I just want to get that across. Now, after showing you Homer and Hesiod and showing you the article that you have to go back to these two authors if you really want to know Greek literature, I want to show some examples of the Greek mythology and with the Bible, that the comparison will be really eye-opening. And what other place then can we start with than, of course, the Garden of Eden, aka the Garden of Hesperides. The Garden of Hesperides. Anybody that knows Greek mythology is gonna lift up their eyebrow right now, because if you really know about this, the Garden of Hesperides, the connection with the Garden of Eden is gonna blow your mind. And before I begin, I want to give a shout out to this author who laid it out that I'll be using some of my reference from. Because you know me, ladies and gentlemen, I don't spew nonsense online. I show you some sources so you can do your research too. Because that's the thing that's lacking nowadays. No one wants to do the reading. No one wants to buy books. Because you know everything's in books. Because they know you don't want to read the book. So I'm going to give a shout out right now. Of course, this book right here, Genesis, Characters and Events in Ancient Greek Art. And there's the author right there that I want to show, Robert Bowery Jr., who I'm using some of my evidence from. So we're going to get into one part of the section right now and see more about this. So without any shout out, let's get right into this book. The Greek version of Eden. And I'll be showing you some pictures also to commemorate this. Some mythologists have mistaken the Hesperides for guardians of the tree, but they certainly are not. Their body language, their easy actions, and their very names serve the purpose of establishing what kind of a garden this is. It is a wonderful, carefree place. Opposite, we see the Garden of Hesperides depicted on a bottom panel of a water pot from about 410 BC. And I'm showing you that photo now. With the central figures viewed from a flattened perspective, the serpent entwines the apple tree with its golden fruit. Remember now, the Garden of Eden also with the tree and the serpent. Very interesting. This is 410 BC, ladies and gentlemen. Way before the Bible came out. Way before. Just want to let y'all know that. The names of the figures are written on the vases. Two of the Hesperides, Chrysothemis, Golden Order, that's very interesting, and Hestrope, Starface, stand to the immediate left of the tree. Chrysothemis moves toward the tree to pluck an apple. Hestrope leans pleasantly against her with both arms. To our left of them, Hygeia, Health, sits on hillock and holds a long scepter, a symbol of rule as she looks back towards the tree. To our right of the apple tree, Lepera, Shining, aka Shining Skin, holds apples in the fold of her garment and raises her veil of her shoulder. The names of the Hesperides describe what the garden is like. It is a land of gold for the taking, soft starlight, perfect health, and wondrous beauty. The Hebrew word for Eden means to be soft or pleasant. Figuratively, the delight oneself. The Garden of Hesperides is the Greek version of the Garden of Eden. And again, we're showing you pictures right here of that vase also. And then another closer look of this right here, where we have one of the Hesperides feeds the serpent as the other tends to the apple tree to the right. And Hesperides feeds the serpent. The serpent in the Garden of Hesperides pictures as accommodating and friendly because the Greeks disregarded the creator in Genesis and welcomed the serpent's enlightenment. Again, this goes to show that the Greeks had a different look when it came to the snake entity. Because to show you the Greeks and how they viewed the snake, I want to show you a little article here regarding the snake, as you'll see here. In Greek and Roman mythology, the snake symbolizes a guardian spirit and was inscribed on many altars. In the temple of Athena in Athens, a snake held in a cage was believed to be the reincarnation of Erectinios, an early king in ancient Greece. A snake was likewise kept at the shrine of Apollo, where it was tended to be by a naked virgin. A naked virgin. Eve with the snake. Interesting. In Greek mythology, Medusa and other Gorgons, female creatures, had sharp fangs and live snakes for hair. The association of women and serpents extended to Medea, who was pulled in a chariot led by serpents, as well as the Minoan snake goddess, who held the snake in each hand. Text, which you all can't forget. In early versions of the Old Testament, reference is made of serpent god ancestors, but the reference has been eliminated or interpreted as merely allegoric throughout numerous translations and adaptations. Listen to that, ladies and gentlemen. Serpent god ancestors, but their references have been eliminated or interpreted as merely allegoric through numerous translations and adaptations. That should make you wink your eye with the translations. Serpents were certainly associated with Moses, however. He was instructed by God to make a serpent head idol. When those bitten by a snake looked at the serpent head, their bite was completely healed. Moses' staff was also reported to have magical properties, turning into a snake and back into a staff, again on one occasion. And in Genesis, one cannot forget the renowned serpent in the garden, even found curled around the tree of life. So again, you see all this connections with the snake and actually high regards, where Moses holds the staff up of the golden serpent and it heals everybody, healing properties. Again, with the Greeks using the snake for regeneration properties, also to symbolism. So just wanted to show you some connections that they have to the snakes back in the days, that it was viewed in a high regard. But I'll continue here. So now we clearly see from what the Greeks and the Romans and then with some Christian texts that the serpent was actually looked upon with enlightenment and with healing properties. So that's very interesting to look at, because then when we get to the modern view with the serpent, it deals with chaos and destruction and enmity with the female. So that's really interesting. But since we're on this serpent topic, I want to show you another insert from the book about the serpent and with the connections it has with Zeus, which I think some people will find really interesting. So, as it shows here, to understand the seemingly odd half-human, half-serpent's presence at the reconsecration ceremony of Heracles, we need to remind ourselves of the contrast between how the book of Genesis viewed the serpent and how the Greeks viewed the serpent. The scripture verse above gives us the Genesis point of view, because the serpent has usurped a place above the authority of God. It is degraded to the lowest, and enmity is set between the serpent and the woman and their seed. And I'm showing you that verse here, Genesis 3:14 through 15a, to which this sentence is pertaining to. From the earliest time, the Canaanite Greeks took an opposite view of the serpent. To them, the serpent freed mankind from bondage to an oppressive God and was therefore a savior and illuminator of our race. The Greeks worshiped Zeus as both savior and illuminator. And you'll see this relief here from Athens, harbor date from 350 BCE, where it shows the coiled beast is to Zeus Melikos, meaning to Zeus the easily entreated one. And on the right, a woman of two men with gestures of adoration approaching Zeus Melikos, depicted as the serpent. And I want to show an insert here from Miss Harrison, a relief of a coiled serpent twice human size described to Zeus. In her Prolegomena to the study of Greek religion, she wrote, quote, "We are brought face to face with the outstanding fact that Zeus, father of gods and man, is figured by his worshippers as a snake. The human-shaped Zeus has slipped himself quietly into the place of the old snake god. Art sets plainly forth that has been dimly shadowed in ritual and mythology. It is not that Zeus the Olympian has an underworld aspect. It is the cruder fact that he of the upper air of the thunder and lightning extrudes an ancient serpent demon of the lower world," Melchius writes. So that's very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Again, with the Greeks and the Old Testament and how certain things coincide with each other. But I know, yes, we've come this far. You could be like, yeah, well, there's some similarities. We all know that cultures borrow things from each other back in the day. which I show you that Homer did contest to, from that's where the Greeks got some of their mythology from the Egyptians. So yes, I could say that though. I could say that some of the writers could be, let's say, influenced, but this is just undenying where it's just a mirror image of Greek mythology. But we still have more to go and some more examples that I want to show off. So let's continue here. Another biblical character I want to put my eye on right now is Noah. For there is another connection, or should I say, another Greek character that somewhat emulates Noah. And this character is Nereus. And I want to show you an interesting article that I found combining this with Noah and Nereus, as I'll show you here. Above we see three different depictions of Nereus from ancient Greek. Vases painted in about 450 BC. On all three, he looks very old. He is seated as if on a throne, and he holds a scepter, a symbol of rule. The simple artistic communication is this: here is the old man who ruled, or perhaps this is the man who ruled by virtue of his age and stature. According to Genesis, Noah lived 600 years before the flood and 350 years after it. According to the Greeks, Noah and Nereus lived long enough to sire 50 daughters called Nereids. Nereus was known for his truthfulness and virtue. And just as I said about, if you want to know Greek literature, because I want to show you an insert here from Hesiod's Theogony 2:33. I'll show you here. But Pontus, the great sea, was father of truthfulness, Nereus, who tells no lie, eldest of his sons. They call him the old gentleman because he is trustworthy and gentle, and never forgetful of what is right. But the thoughts of his mind are mild and righteous. Hesiod, Theogony 2:33. And so Genesis 6:9, Noah is a just man, flawless became he in his generations. With God walks Noah. So somewhat emulates to Nereus and Noah, I just explaining. But again, here is another article that actually just, boom, hits home right here. And I think the article and the author of it too. So as I'll show you here. Nereus, the Greeks knew exactly who Noah was. They called him Nereus, the wet one, and Helios Geron, the salt sea old man. Greek artists chronologed the rise of their religion from his lifetime, and often depicted Noah/Nereus on vases holding his scepter, a symbol of rule, with the bottom half of a fish and or holding a fish, signifying that this is the fishman who brought humanity through the flood. As it reads here, the book of Genesis does not name Noah's wife, but the Greeks said that the wife of Nereus was the Oceanid Duris. What made her an Oceania was the fact that she rode the ocean in an ark with Nereus. And Noah and their family for nearly a year. And of course, Noah/Nereus was known for having prophetic powers. For 100 years, he had been depicted the flood that eventually wiped out the line of Cain, save for one woman whose identity we now know. According to Genesis, the flood occurred 100 years after Yahweh told Noah to build the ark. And 2 Peter 2:5 affirms that he was a herald of righteousness during that period. The memories of Nereus to the Greeks was indeed of considerable importance, for Hesiod took the time to name all 50 of his daughters, whom he wrote sprang from blameless Nereus, skilled in excellent crafts. Greek artists and poets treated the old man of the sea as a personage of permanent significance, recognizing his patriarchal standing. The vase artists competed with each other to express in different creative ways the historical truth that the Greek religious system took over from Noah and Nereus. Trust the artists. They knew about the ancient garden. They depicted the flood, and they knew about the woman from the line of Cain who survived it and inspired humanity to overthrow the authority of Noah. So now, showing you all of this with the Greek Septuagint, Hesiod Theogony, and with the Iliad, and how Moses with the serpent coincides with Zeus and all these mythological Greek gods somewhat fit inside the narrative of the Bible. It is just mind boggling. And yet, we come to this spot, and I appreciate you all that's actually reached this part in the video, because this, I'm going to give you all a gem. Because after everything I showed you with the pottery and with the snake, with Moses, and with the Old and New Testament being no doubt in Korean Greek, I'm going to leave you all with something that is untangible, that you can all look up right now at wherever you're at, or if you're on your phone or you're on your computer, because I know people don't have a lot of time to read books and stuff, because the information's there, I promise you that. But you can all use Wikipedia, and I know everybody's going to be like, oh, Wikipedia, come on, how much is that going to help? Actually, what you need to do is read the footnotes and the sources in the Wikipedia. Wikipedia is actually a great tool if you know how to utilize it. But without a shadow of doubt, I feel like this will just nail the coffin on this whole video, because I will be doing more parts for sure. So I want to go straight into which I feel will show the clearest connection with the Greeks and their gods and the Old and New Testament. So I want to look at Iapetus. Iapetus. So yeah, let's look straight into Iapetus and who this character is. In Greek mythology, Iapetus, also Japheth. Now remember that I'm going to go back into that person's name, because if anybody knows the Bible, you're going to be like, oh no, there's no way. Yes, so hold on, we're going to get there. Is a Titan, the son of Uranus and Gaia, and father of Atlas, Prometheus, Epiphanius, and Menoetius. He was also called the father of Bogoias and Anchilia in other sources. And now here's the good part, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going to tie all of this together. So I have this segment right here. Iapetus was linked to Japheth, one of the sons of Noah and a progenitor of mankind in biblical accounts. Wait, what? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, press pause. You can look online right now. Clear as day. Let's just continue though. Iapetus was linked to Japheth, Hebrew, one of the sons of Noah and a progenitor of the mankind in biblical accounts. The practice by early historians and biblical scholars of identifying various historical nations and ethnic groups as descendants of Japheth, together with the similarity of their names, led to a fusion of their identities from the early modern period to the present. So now, it doesn't end just there. Let's look into Japheth and let's actually see what they say. Not me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just finding the breadcrumbs and putting this together. This is what they're saying. So let's see what they say about Japheth, aka Japheth. And I'm naming all the names out. Japheth, Iapetus, or Iapetus. In Greek mythology, Iapetus and Japheth, also Japheth, is a Titan, the son of Uranus and Gaia and father of Atlas. The same definition that they gave us earlier when we were looking at Iapetus, confirming once again the connections of Japheth and Iapetus. Look at the names, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot say that there is no connection. How is there a Titan from the Greek mythology being synonymous with Japheth, one of Noah's sons? Now, hold on. I want to keep going in now and read more what they say, because I know anybody that went through this whole video is just jaw dropped right now. And if it isn't, then you have been watching this whole video. But let's continue here. The ethnogenetic interpretations. Japheth may be a translation of the Greek Iapetus, the ancestor of the Hellenic people. Again, people, coinciding with this also. So let's look into the mythology segment of Iapetus. And we're going to look all the way down here where I have this highlighted. Iapetus, as the progenitor of mankind, has been equated. Let's say it again. Equated with Japheth, the son of Noah, based on the similarity of their names and the tradition. Reported by who, ladies and gentlemen? Come on now. Josephus, Antiquity of the Jews. And if you've been watching my channel, I talk so much of Japheth. Everybody has him as the account of the Jews, right? Right, ladies and gentlemen? This is his account. And I already said about how I have a love-hate relationship with Josephus, because I'll leave that to another video. But hey, this isn't me spouting all this. This is the guy, the head guy for the Jews. Antiquity of the Jews. Look, reported by Josephus, Antiquity of Jews, which made Japheth the ancestor of the Japhethites, the Indo-European speaking peoples. Iapetus was linked to Japheth by the 17th century theologian Matthew Pohl. So not even Josephus made this connection. Another high-ranking person made this connection. Like, come on. And more recently by Robert Graves and by John Perman Brown. I mean, like, come on. Boom. I'm doing a nail in the coffin right now. I mean, like, sorry for the jokes, ladies and gentlemen, but there is undeniable proof. And it's all written there for we all can see. We got the books. Trust me. I know you guys see the books. I told you, we got the books. It's all there for you. The connection is there, showing you that elements of the Greek mythological story is infused in Christianity in the New Testament and even in the Old Testament, without a shadow of a doubt. It may not be the whole story from A to Z, but I did show you proof that they took elements from it. That came before it. And if it came before Greek mythology, why would there be elements of that in there? If that's what some scholars say. But clear as day, the Greeks had their mythology first and had all of this in stories already getting translated and told around this region, and showing you again that the makers of the Bible, the authors, took elements from Greek traditions. And not only just Greek traditions, they took it from Egyptians, the Chaldeans, the Persians also, and of course their district relatives. Who else but the Phoenicians, from where they get their alphabet from? Look it up. They borrowed all these stories from these different cultures and merged them together. But I know some people are still going to be like, this can't be. But do the work and do the research. And I say that it's all there, plain and there. You just got to put these puzzles together. But there's so much more that I can just dive into right now, but so little time. But I will be doing a part 2. I'll probably be making a series out of this, because I can just go on for days, to be honest with you. I mean, like, I keep telling you, if you've been watching my channel, there's the connection. The Greeks, you gotta pay attention to the Greeks, the Greeks, the Greeks. What are all the movies that we watch, these superhero movies? Why is it all Greek mythology beings? I mean, come on. What is going on with this Greek culture that is embedded with us? But we'll dive deep that rabbit hole one day. But anywho, please, what did you guys think about this? Please, let's get in the comment section. Have you heard anybody talking about this and showing you the connection with Greek mythology and with the Old and New Testament, and how the Greeks had a stronghold on this? A stronghold, ladies and gentlemen. The influence is unfathomable. Plus, if you know about what Alexander did with the Greeks when they came in. But anywho, thank you all for taking the time to watching this video. I took a little bit to put all the pieces together, and I think the author is also the book earlier that I talked about, which I will show again. I kind of fit nicely in there too. So this is the book. You can get on Amazon. And remember, I don't take in everything that the author says. You know, it's like chicken. You gotta eat the meat and throw out the bone. You know, there's certain things that I can make my connection, certain things that kind of go a little bit up in the air. But do your research, ladies and gentlemen. Do your research. Anywho, thank you for taking the time to watching this, and I'll see you all on the next one. Cheers, y'all.